Good morning, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and as you can see, I'm sitting here in the car. It is a rainy day here in the DMV area. I'm getting ready to go into what is probably my last comic book show of the year here in Annandale, Virginia. And for you guys who don't know the area, Annandale, Virginia is right inside the beltway of Washington, D.C. So I'm getting ready to go in. I'm going to be looking for some of my keys off my 2023 goals list. There's still a few things left. We're going to look for those things first. But we'll keep an open mind. We'll go in there. We'll see if we can find some of those things. And if not, maybe we'll find some lesser keys. I don't really know what I'm looking for other than the keys today. But I'm excited to see what I'm going to find for the last show of the year. And hopefully we'll have some good books to show off to you. So sit back. I will be right back. And for you guys, it'll be a few seconds. For me, it'll probably be a few days before I get this video actually shot, but I hope to show off some good books. So stay tuned and check out what I picked up at this show in Annandale, Virginia. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed some of the footage from the show, from the very last comic book show that I probably will be going to this year. It was the show that's down in Annandale, Virginia. It is a little firehouse that they put on this show about once a month, and it always has some good dealers. There's definitely some other dealers that I didn't show. They do a lot of baseball cards, sports cards, and things like that. So half the room is sports cards, half the room is comic book dealers. And you always have some really good comic book dealers down there. And they always bring some good stuff, as you can see by what's on the ball. And also, it also is one of the shows that Automatic Comics attends every now and then. And if you guys get a chance, check out his channel. He just put out a show where he went to the show and picked out some really nice Golden Age. And I think he actually ended up getting a Silver Age and a Bronze Age book as well. And he always picks out some really cool and interesting things. And I'm hoping that you enjoy what I picked out here. And let me just get into it. So I ended up going there trying to find some of the things off of my 2023 goals list. And we're getting short on that list this year. But there's still some things on the list that I wanted to see if I can find at reasonable prices. And what I couldn't find was the right condition. I did find Spectacular Spider-Man 131, 132, but they weren't in the conditions I want. I want to get those as 9.8 candidates to be able to get those in the CGC, get them graded, complete that Kraven's Last Hunt, all 6 issues of that storyline. And I couldn't find either of the Spectacular Spider-Mans in the conditions that I wanted, although I did find them. And after that point, and there was a few other things on the list, and I just wasn't finding exactly what I wanted. But that doesn't mean that I didn't find some really good things. And let me just show you the first thing that I ended up finding, and it was at a pretty decent price, and it's this right here. It is Invaders number 11. Now, this is from December of 1976. It is not a key comic, but over the last 6 months or so, I've been getting into buying some of these high-grade copies of the Invaders, and I'm working on an entire run of this series pretty much in high grade. Now, right now, I wasn't thinking about getting this graded, but if I did, and this is a 9.8 candidate at the moment, it is $160 value right now. That is the last sale that I found. 9.6s go for about $100. 9.4s, they fall off the cliff at a 9.6. Now, this is a book, like I said, I wasn't considering getting it graded, but I just want a high grade copy to put in the PC with the possibility of getting it graded down the road. And for what I paid for this, for the whole $10, it's not going to be bad even if it drops down to 9.6 if I get it graded. That's not necessarily purpose, like I was saying, it's for the PC, but this is one of those ones that I would definitely put in there at a pre-screen before I would submit it. You don't want to send this in and get a 9.4. Like I said, 9.4 just went for $26. Come on, guys, that's grading fees. You don't want to spend the money. You wouldn't spend the money on that to put into this to get a 9.4. It probably wouldn't even sell at this point. I don't know, with the market the way it is, everybody's looking for the best value for the money they're putting out. And if you can find a 9.8 for $160, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't buy a 9.4 at $26. I don't want that in my PC. So I don't want that to be graded like that. So this right now is just going to go in the PC. But as I said, I was trying to find things that goes off the goals list. But since I wasn't finding that, I went to a secondary want list. And again, the Invaders was something that I've been working on. So I was looking for the Invaders books at different dealers, and I ended up finding from one of my favorite dealers, the Eclectic Nerd, had this right here. And I didn't think I was going to be able to find this at such a good condition at a show. I mean, I figured I'd find it, but I found it was a pretty reasonable price at $50. It was this right here. I ended up getting the very first issue of the Invaders for $50. This is an immaculate copy of this. And this is definitely a grading comic right here, a candidate. August 1975, when this book came out, 9.8 just recently sold for $588. 9.6s dropped down to about $200. Even a 9.4 drops to $121. So as you can see, this is a candidate that even if it drops down a couple grades and I wanted to sell it, it still would have a value for what I paid for this. It'd have to drop down to a 9.0, probably an 8.5 before I would break even. And I think this copy is really nice. I appreciate the guys at the Eclectic Nerd for having such a great copy of this. And it was good seeing you guys there. Again, I was not, as you can tell by my voice, I am not feeling too well right now, working on a cold, and I was not feeling too well at the show. You guys had an Avengers number 186 that I definitely, when I came back and picked this up, I completely forgot about it. I should have picked that up. But hopefully the next show at the beginning of the year, hopefully in January, I'll be able to still pick up that Avengers 186 again. So anyway, guys, thank you for this copy. It is a really nice copy. I don't know if I'm going to get it graded anytime soon, but if I do, I think I'll have some really good value on this book. And at the moment, just like the other issue, number 11 there, this is going to go into PC, and it's kind of neat to go back and collect this. I think there was only 44 issues of the Invaders, and then there were a couple of giant sizes as well. And I'm so happy to have this. I never had this as a kid. The very first issue of Invaders I had as a kid was issue number 3 with that great Captain America and Namor cover where they're battling by John Romita Sr. And I always wanted to have a copy of this. I think I'm going to be very careful with this and actually read it. So we'll check out the condition when I'm reading it and everything, but super happy to have it. Thank you guys from the Eclectic Nerd. All right. Again, I didn't find a lot of stuff off my wish list, and at this point, I'm going around the show. I've circled the show 2 or 3 times, and there were some things on the walls that I liked. There were some things in the bins I kind of liked. I wasn't I wasn't going to spend money just to spend money. But I ended up finding on one dealer, and I had bought from him before, but he had a whole row of Dave Stevens books, including the Planet Comics #1. There were some other ones, I can't remember the titles right off, and I took a look at just about every one of them. And the Planet Comics ones I really wanted, but there were some ticks on there that I didn't want to put the money into and they come back as a lesser grade. And these were books that if I was going to get them, I needed them to be in those super high grades because the plan is to get them graded and possibly hold on to them or possibly sell them. But I want them as 9.8 candidates. So I went through a series of books that he had on the stand there. And I ended up putting back at Planet Comics and a couple of the other ones. But I ended up picking up a few of them. And let me show you what I've got here. Let me start with this one right here. It is Crossfire #12. It is this great cover with Marilyn Monroe. And this right here is, who is it? Mark Evanier? Evanier? Is that how you say his name? Wrote this book. And just a gorgeous cover right here. This is from June of 1985. And 9.8s go on this for over $280. 9.6 is dropped down to $100. And even 9.4s go for about $65. Now, this right here of the three that I got is probably the least of the three. And I definitely would want to get a 9.8 on this to make it valuable. 9.6, with the grading fees and cost of the book, would make me just about break even. I'd make a little bit of money if I sold it. But as I said, all three of these books are 9.8 candidates. And so that's pretty good. I'm hoping that will be a 9.8. We'll definitely get it out and double check everything. If not, I may just keep it as a roll. I don't know if I'd get it graded if I think it's going to not get that 9.8. But the second one here, now I had this book. I had this book as a kid, and well, as a kid, I was in, I guess this would have technically been 1985. I would have been graduating from high school, going into college, and it was this right here. It's Airboy #5. This is the Valkyrie cover by Dave Stevens. And this right here, I had this. In fact, I still have this. It's in the shop. I don't know if I've actually got it. I pulled it out to clean and press it. I don't think I've actually got to that point. But what I did was I bundled all three of these books together to get the price down a little bit. And all in all, I paid about $53 a piece for every one of these books. And that may have been a little high on a couple of these, but with the potential, the 9.8 potential on all of these, I think I'm going to come out really good. The Crossfire, like I said, has to be that 9.8. But Airboy #5, 9.8s, $349 was a recent sale. $110 for a 9.6. Now that one gets a little bit closer to that Crossfire Danger Zone. But even that would end up making a little bit of money if I sell. Well, the idea is to sell this because, like I said, I've already got another copy of this, my original copy. 9.4, I didn't have a price on that because I couldn't find a price recently on this. But super great copy. I couldn't pass that up being in the condition that it was. All right, and then the last one. And I picked this up. I've got another copy of this, but I don't mind picking up another just to speculate on and for resale because a lot of times I find that I get these books because I love them to begin with. And I look at them for resale, but I also look at them to keep in the PC. So I picked this book up. It is one that brings back a lot of memories because back in 1985, 86, well, 85 actually, I was in college. Actually, it was 85, 86, fall of 85, spring of 86. I was in college, first year art design student, and one of our first projects in the production class, and this, you got to remember guys, this is before we had computers. You had to do things by hand, by using pen and ink, repeatiographs, and one of the projects was to create a calendar, and that was doing the calendar page itself with all the numbers and the boxes and everything, and then the top part, you basically, as an artist, create a piece of art for that month. And so I created, since October is my birth month, I did a Halloween theme one. So I did a recreation of this Dave Stevens cover right here. And this is it right here. Seduction of the Innocent #3, 3D. And I did this as a reproduction on that for that calendar. And it was the first time I remember that project specifically, not so much for the art, but for the fact that I knew at that point that working with pen and ink as a designer, hand skills and everything, I really had really good hand skills at the time. It was my first year knowing how to do these things, And I realized I'm really good at it. And that basically set me in path for what career I wanted to do at that point. But I do remember making a recreation of this. I'll have to find that because, as you can see, I'm not in Maryland right now. I'm down at my West Virginia property, and I'm back in my old bedroom. I think I've got the original artwork for that. In fact, I probably should have pulled that out and shown you guys. But I'll have to look for that. So anyway, this right here, 3D, Seduction of Innocent, #1, 3D, October of 1985. So it had just come out. I don't remember having the book, but I remember being probably reproduced in an ad or something, and probably in Comics Journal or Amazing Heroes or something. I saw this image at some point. 9.8 right now, $396. 9.6 is $139. 9.4 is even $140. So there's definitely some room in that 9.6, 9.4. I think it could go up a little bit for a 9.6. So I think I'll do pretty good on this. As I said, I paid $53 a piece for each of these Dave Stevens books. I think I've got some room on all of these, no matter what, as long as it doesn't drop down below a 9.6. But this is what I picked up from the show, and I was pretty happy with this haul. It wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but as a speculator in this hobby, these are the kind of things that I try to look for good values that I can, and plus they're books that I love, and that's the thing. Maybe I need to not love these books as much because I want to keep them in my PC. Maybe that's why I picked up a second copy of this and a second copy of Airboy. But I look at these things with the idea that I want to be adding value to the collection, especially after getting them graded by CGC. But that's it for today. Again, I'm sorry for the voice. I realize that I'm really crackly right now. I hope you enjoy this show. We only have a couple more shows left for the year, but I wanted to call out the fact that, hey, we went over 1,500 subs for the channel. I was going to say for the year, but for the channel. And I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting the channel and tuning in each week, Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. And this show will probably air. It'll be about a week after this show. And again, check out Automatic Comics for his review of this same show that he went to. He definitely picked out some really good books. And I think it was interesting to see what he picked out and the conditions that he picked out. He wasn't looking like I go to these shows and I look at these books and I'm looking for near mint, pristine books. He, on the other hand, is looking at Golden Age books, mostly Silver Age, and he's not afraid to buy books that are in lesser condition because he knows the values of those books at lower grades, and he knows not to get them graded if it drops down too much. He knows not to get them graded because the value is still in the book, and you would just be spending money on getting them graded and then putting too much money into it. Ryan is very knowledgeable about all these things. So, what a great channel. Hope you guys will support him. But that's it for me today. I'm going to go get something to drink because I sound awful. And thank you for joining me. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, like I said, we just hit 1,500. Definitely consider joining the channel. Subscribe, like, and click on a notification bell so you guys will be alerted when I put out my episodes. They come out every week, Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. And I've been good about that all year. And right now, I don't see any reason why we're not. In the last couple episodes of the year, right now, I'm planning on doing at least one episode talking about what I did for my 2023 goals, which ones that I hit, what do I still need, and maybe we'll talk about what goals are what I want for 2024. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about today's video by leaving me a comment in the comment section below. And that's it. I'm out of here. You guys take care. Have a great day. And remember, every comic has a story.